Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 8 from class AM1102A and we are honored to open our presentation for PAD120 Introduction to Political Science. Today, we will explore the question, how can political science help solve global human rights issues such as refugee crisis, political oppression or restrictions on free speech, and how does democracy influence these solutions? We believe this topic matters because the principles we study in class and do not stay within textbooks. We are also shape with policies, protect lives, and uphold dignity across the world.
Political science is closely related to human rights throughout how human rights are formed in political system. It examines the impact of political structures such as democracy, legal institution, and the influence of international actors on the protection of human rights. Human rights definitions are increasingly complex and diverse as a result of the impact of information and changing norms in the international system, which can be identified throughout large-scale text analysis in global politics. Political science also look at the international context that influence the protection of human rights. Mechanisms like the Universal Periodic Review, which is called UPR, of the Human Rights Council are created to pressure states into improving their human rights conditions throughout periodic report and review.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Amani. For this section, I will explain about 2.0 Understanding Political Science. Political science is the study of authority, institutions, and governance. Aristotle called it as the master science because it affects all aspects of society from education to economy. One key scholar, Harold D. Laswell, defined political science as who gets what, how, and when. Who, in this case, are the political actors such as leaders or voters. How are the processes like elections or lobbying, and what means the outcomes like policies or laws. Human rights are basic and universal. Everyone has them, regardless of race, religion, or status. These rights include the right to life, food, education, freedom, and healthcare. These rights protect dignity and allow people to live in peace while participating in society. Organizations such as the European Union help defend vulnerable groups such as refugees, minorities, women, and children. They work to protect these communities from injustice and systemic harm. Now, let's look at the 3 global examples of human rights violations. The Rohingya are a stateless Muslim minority from Myanmar. They have faced decades of persecution and have been denied citizenship. Over 1 million of them now lives in crowded refugee camps, especially in Bangladesh and Malaysia. The Kurds in Turkey have faced deep discrimination, especially in healthcare due to language barriers. They are forced to use Turkish, which erases their culture and identity. This shows how state power creates invisible but long-lasting oppression. Even in democracies like the United States, the freedom of speech is shrinking. Laws such as norms and fear of backlash have created soft censorship. This limits academic freedom and weakens democracy by silencing different voices.
Rules of political science. There are 2 rules of political science which are strengthening civil society in participation and raising awareness. Firstly, strengthening civil society and participation. Political science empowers civil societies such as NGOs, media, and communities. It encourages public participation in democracy and human rights protection. It also educates citizens on how institutions work and their political rights. Moreover, a strong civil society prevents human rights violations. For example, in South Africa, civil society groups played a key role in ending apartheid by organizing protests and educating citizens about their rights. Secondly, raising awareness. Political science educates people about global human rights issues. It helps fight misinformation and propaganda. It also encourages citizens to know and defend their rights. It promotes critical thinking through civic education. For instance, in Ukraine, civic education helps citizens understand their political rights during political unrest, encouraging peaceful activism and democratic reform. Next, role of democracy in solving human rights issues. Roles of democracy. There are 2 roles of democracy which are strengthening gender equality and social justice, and support accountability and transparency. Democracies support gender equality and social justice through open discussion and laws. It promotes women's rights via tools like gender quotas and civil rights laws. It empowers marginalized groups such as access to education and protection. Inclusive policy making leads to real progress in equality. For example, in Rwanda, gender quotas in parliament have helped increase female political representation and promoting gender equality in lawmaking. Support accountability and transparency. Democracy demands governments be accountable for their action. It ensures access to basic rights such as healthcare and legal justice. It encourages public participation and open policy discussion. It reduces corruption through transparency in governance. For example, in South Korea, citizens' access to government data help expose corruption scandals, leading to reforms and stronger public trust.
In democracy system, the law and constitution are the centerpiece around fundamental right guaranteed and protected for each human being. Example of human rights like freedom of speech and right to education. The effectiveness of right protection depends on government institutions such as police and enforcement agency to implement with integrity. It shows that countries with strong democratic system tend to have government institutions that are more competitive in the implementation of human rights. Democracy is only through constant election, but is also practically realized in the continuous protection of human rights by law before an independent judiciary. These include matters concerning power, administration, and effective system of check and balance. Through election, people have choice to replace government that not protect their rights. This is the standard form of accountability wherein the people may ratify government policy or reject any form of operation. Activities such as peaceful demonstration, petition, and civil society are considered rights bestowed upon citizens under international law. It allows citizens to be agent of change, demand justice, and shaping public policy. Before election, government will be engaged in taking positive action regarding human rights in order to attain political support. This means that democracy forces government to be sensitive to the will of the people. The power of the people in the democratic system is compel government to actively realize human rights. The system of check and balance is the key element to ensure that government not overstep in authority and violate the right of the people. This institution function as internal watchdog that can overturn invalid law. The police leader tend to restrict media freedom, weaken the judiciary, and eliminate freedom of expression on the ground of the national security. This situation reveals weakness in the implementation of democratic principles if institutions are not strong enough. The system of check and balance need to be strengthened throughout training and not interfering political banking. A democracy only guarantees the will of people if such institutions work independently with transparency.
Alright, moving on to the next part, which is the recommendation. So I have prepared 3 recommendations that I would like to present to you. And the first one is empowering civil society and peace-building mechanism. The second one is exploiting democracy to defend human rights and support refugees. And the third one is applying theoretical frameworks to drive policy change. Now I would like to explain in detail about the first recommendation, which is empowering civil society and peace-building mechanisms. So civil society groups like NGOs and human rights organizations are vital in supporting refugees and building peace. They help by providing services like housing, legal help, and emotional support. For example, in Sweden, during the 2015 asylum wave, these groups were key in helping refugees, especially in rural areas. For the next recommendation, which is exploiting democracy to defend human rights and support refugees, democratic countries tend to treat refugees better. They allow refugees to participate in society and politics, which helps them to settle in and push for positive change. Democracies usually protect rights more and help refugees become part of the community. moving on to our last recommendation, which is applying theoretical frameworks to drive policy change. So there are two theories for this recommendation, which is the first one is realist theory. This theory says countries mostly care about their own interests. For example, money, security and stability. So, to get support for refugees, advocates can show how refugees help the economy, improve a country's image and fill important job gaps. And the second theory is constructivist theory. This theory focuses on values, identity and norms. Countries with strong humanitarian values may be more willing to help refugees. Advocates can use this by promoting empathy, changing public opinions and linking refugee support to national identity and human rights. For the last part is the conclusion. We can conclude that political science helps us understand how countries can work together to protect human rights. It shows how global organizations like the United Nations and the International Criminal Court can step in when people's rights are violated. It also shows the importance of good public policies. By studying what works in other countries, we can create better laws to protect refugees, promote equality and improve access to education and justice. Political science also supports the spread of democracy, which usually leads to better protection of human rights through free speech, fair laws, active citizen participation. Finally, political science teaches us how to think critically about justice and leadership. It gives people the tools to recognize injustice and take action to make the world fairer and more respectful of human dignity. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.